I'm trying to platinum a game from every country, and in this episode, I'm starting with the country I visited most recently. Home to 5.5 million people, land of the lakes, saunas, and metal music, Finland might not be a big country, but they have some massive games. Like one of my favorite studios, Housemarque with Returnal, Supercell with Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, Rovio with the famous Angry Birds. They actually have Angry Birds playgrounds, do you know how crazy that is? But also Remedy, the makers of Control and Alan Wake, and the latter being my next platinum. Quite frankly, I had never heard of Alan Wake before the remaster was announced, and I really wanted to play the second one because it looked gorgeous. However, my tight ass needs to play the games in correct order, so Alan Wake Remastered was for now. But with a ton of collectibles, combat, and even no death runs, this wasn't as straightforward as I'd hoped. It kinda had an old school opening with the narration from writer Alan Wake, the main character we play as, who is trapped in a nightmare of his own writing. Unfortunately for the plat, I'd have to play through the game twice, because of a higher difficulty nightmare mode that only unlocked after beating the story, so I would use this playthrough to also find the many collectibles. Dude, this game feels so old. Just the whole cinematic thing just feels old. I don't know how to explain it. Inshimanen Pokali. Let's go, boys. It's got very Finnish vibes, the nature of it. But I'm assuming this is probably set in America, like 90% of every other game. Which is unfortunate, but it looks Finnish. Having already platinumed Control twice, and knowing the creepy janitor spoke Finnish a few times, I got the same eerie, strange FBC vibes from this, and was hoping for a similar Finnish character here. I get a key from this Bene Gesserit lady and got some basic story progression trophies done, including killing 2 of the Nightmare Ghost Taken enemies with 1 shotgun shot to get the first of many miscellaneous trophies. And I would be popping so many trophies all over the place because this game hands them out like it's nothing. There was a lot of unexplainable stuff that was just weird, and I liked it. The game is divided into episodes like a TV show, and I was mainly focused on getting all the collectibles every 5 meters because there were so many, bro. Like, why do I need to collect 100 coffee thermoses? Like, I don't even know what they mean, but I'm hoping the game clears that up. I was living through what was written in the book Alan Wake had written, but it was altered somehow, and I quickly lost track of what was going on, but I think that was part of the idea. I eventually reached a cabin where I could kill these flocks of flamingos with my flashlight to kill 1,000 of them and pop a trophy. Nice. Nice. For some reason, there was also a bulldozer boss fight, as ghosts can literally take on any object in this game, just like in Control, and I thought there might be connected universes, but you'll have to let me know if that's true. I flashed the bulldozers with my light to take him down to pop yet another trophy. The next section required me to get through it within 30 minutes, but because I was finding collectibles along the way, there was absolutely no way I was able to do that, so I saved that for a second playthrough. Honestly, the game felt very comforting and relaxing to play. I don't know why, but this style of platinum in a linear game with some Uncharted platinum vibes was really nice to play. I popped a few more trophies along the way before reaching an area where I got stuck. No step says I don't need help, but I couldn't get past the enemies, so I was reset every time I died. Yet that unintentionally allowed me to farm and pop so many trophies in quick succession, like for a flashbang quad kill, 20 enemies indirectly killed, a flare trophy I don't even know what for, 100 revolver kills, dodging 20 enemies, and 4 flare kills. Not even knowing these were trophies and popping them naturally was great, but after that, I made it to a concert where I had to hold off waves of enemies for a trophy. Okay, apparently I need to hold off these enemies like it's zombies here. And it should be a piece of... Okay, well, I'm not allowed to go down in health to at least the bottom one, or whatever you call it. Let's see if we can do that. Ow, ow, ow. Dude, just fire your f***ing bullet, bro. Kind of struggling here. There's a lot of Ow. I swear this is the song from the Game Awards. I don't think YouTube will allow me to play it because Daddy YouTube will copyright strike me. Oh shit, that's not good. It's not hard, but there's a lot of them and the combat is kind of clunky. I can't see shit. Well, Fireworks are going off. Is that the end of it? I'm gonna assume that's the end of it, so give me that trophy, baby. Yes! Yes, I knew it. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. I'm so good. I then made it to a barn where I saw this poster and knew that Mr. Sami Anterojärvi, aka Sam Lake, was dancing to this music at TGA, and I thought that was a really cool thing. I got more trophies for various combat and collectible related things, but I honestly kinda lost track with the story because of what was happening. It was a bit all over the place with Inception vibes of confusingness, but I like the experience, and just like the GOAT Christopher Nolan once said, I didn't need to understand it as long as I just had a great experience. For the most part that was true, but I won't lie that combat felt extremely clunky to me and caused me to die several times. Fuck you mean shining a light on this dude for 20 seconds is any sort of fucking fun? I can't shoot him because he needs a light and it takes 20 seconds, bro. I got to an area that I had to get through without using my gun for a trophy, and whilst doing that, popped a bunch of trophies for too many things to mention once again. But one of them was for finding all manuscripts, yet I hadn't exactly found all of them because there would be another 15 that I could only find in Nightmare Run, which we'd attempt after this. Gunless Wonder! Let's go! Nice. We're supposedly, I think, at the end of the game, but it so does not feel like it. Like, I don't know when the story's gonna wrap up, or even how. Well, maybe that's how. Kiitos, Finland, kiitos. W, Finland. Now to get the plat, because we still have Nightmare, DLC, and collectibles. Yippee! For the Nightmare mode, things only got more frustrating. I still needed to find 15 collectibles only available in this mode, but also got familiar with the new difficulty, which early on didn't cause me many problems, but later on definitely did. With enemies taking forever to kill and doing a bunch more damage, that really annoyed me. There were a few trophies left and one that I would save for last, but that exact trophy was the one I popped when I got through episode 3 so quickly. It wasn't the plan, as that trophy was supposed to be my last for later after the DLC to pop the plat. So to feed my OCD needs, I missed one collectible on purpose to grab as my last trophy instead. However, after some incredibly frustrating moments where objects would fly at me from thin air, I found every collectible and defeated the strange tornado to beat the story once again. My 100% completionist ass now needs to do the 2 DLCs, and those were quite fun. More similar trophies, including some scary no-death runs for completing the entire thing without dying. The story takes place after the main story, kinda reliving what we've already went through. Finding more collectibles and popping more miscellaneous trophies along the way, trying not to die to save me another second playthrough. But of course I died after a ghost spawned on top of me, so I continued on to a section where I wasn't allowed to use a car and at least got that done to save me the hassle on the second run. I got to the final fight that I prepped for by saving my strongest weapons and defeated that within 90 seconds for yet another trophy. With the story finished, it was time for the no death run, but I died 5 minutes into the run because of more stupid ghosts. So I went again, slowly making my way past the enemies. Always taking it real careful and making sure to play as smart as possible. It was definitely tough, but very doable if I watched out. I popped a few collectible and miscellaneous trophies along the way before this happened.
Is that you?
I mean, bro, come on. I had no words for that as it was quite literally 5 minutes before the end, and I died to the dumbest way imaginable. So again, I played through it to get back to where I was, didn't do a Fortnite myth this time, and got the no death run completed. The second DLC had the same trophy layout, but some differing gameplay moments, including this section with the horrendous jumping platform area that was so dumb. I couldn't even get past this normally, let alone for the no death run. And then slightly later, this poorly designed Ferris wheel was just as bad. It pissed me off and I couldn't even understand how that was ever greenlit. It was horrible, but I managed to play through the story, popping various trophies throughout until I beat the weird story. With 3 trophies remaining before the plat, I tried to get past the jumping section in 60 seconds for a trophy. Ow. Are you kidding me, bro? Oh my god. died to a word. I just died to a word.
And I can't jump.
I don't have words, bro. What a sick joke. I got it. What? Okay. The no death run, however, was way more stressful on this run, and after making it through the awful jumping section and Ferris wheel, which I never want to go through again, I kept progressing further, approaching the final boss fight where I was super careful and could taste the final trophies before finishing Finland.
I am kind of scared. Goodbye. Goodbye, Odin. Oh my god, he just spawns on me, bro. Please tell me that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yes! Yes! Oh, dude, I did not expect this game to have no death runs. That gave me more stress than I'm willing to admit, bro.
Fuck, one collectible and we're done. Those no death runs were no joke, honestly. They really put me in some stressful situations that I definitely did not expect. Oh my god, I'm on the wrong difficulty. Oh my god. As I was saying, W Finland, Kiitos Suomi, olen inusani, Alan Wake tuosta. W Finland. Actually, W Plat. Now in the last episode, I told you guys I would plat a game from the country that had the most likes. Definitely tell me which game and country I should platinum next because I really need some help finding games from certain countries. So like and subscribe to continue this series. However, from last episode, apparently my bratia are excited for this one. Home to the Zloty, 36.5 million people, over 500 castles, and an almost equal amount of game studios, Poland has one of the fastest growing game industries in Europe and is amongst the biggest game dev countries, period. It is the home base of studios like Techland from Dying Light, 11 Bits from This War of Mine and Frostpunk, but also from the wizards over at CD Projekt Red, the makers of The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077. Unfortunately for me, The Witcher was never a game I could get into, and I'd already platinumed Cyberpunk. But I did have an itch for a similar game, so I did some digging and found a game set in a Cyberpunk universe made by Team Bloober called The Observer. I'd never played a game made by the Bloober team, so had no idea what to expect. But I knew that I loved Cyberpunk, so I was excited. It starts with an opening cutscene with a strange spooky vibe that instantly got me hooked. I find myself in a police car where someone called Grabinski had called, and that sounded like a very Polish name. Perhaps we finally have a game made in a country that's also set in its country. But we find the guy that supposedly called us in his apartment without a head, and we set up a crime scene like Detective Batman to find out what happened. It might have been his son, but we needed to find out exactly what had happened. There was a bit of an information overload here as I could scan things with electricity and other scans for biomass, and even with using the guide I was following to make sure I never missed anything. Because the trophies here are for finding all 76 collectibles in one run, a whole lot of missable stuff, and another no death run trophy. I found the first collectible and continued on with my detective work. I ran into this mini game that was both a collectible and one that I would have to beat all 17 levels of once I had unlocked them all for a trophy. But the whole game was kind of creepy but in a cool way, although a tad scarier than I imagined. Whoa! Why would you do that? I was starting to think that this game was actually set in Poland, as there were a lot of what I presumed were Polish names. I only thought these were Polish because they had some Wi-Fi password type name with half ending in ski, and because of my ball knowledge, you know, that kinda helps me out geographically for once. Is that Polish? I think this entire game is Polish, bro. I mean, they all speak English, but pretty much everything, every character and every poster is Polish. Eventually, after following the guide, I found 10 posters of collectibles. Gee, finally! Hang on. I forgot. Coach me! Pierwszy trofeu. It was a little slow of a game with everything taking place inside this locked down apartment building. But I liked it. I didn't know exactly why, but I thought it was a cool, pretty looking game that I really liked the setting of. After I interrogated some noisy neighbors and scanned a few more items, I found a woman in a chair with wires all over. It reminded me of the Phantom Liberty ending, but we Neuralink connect to her and go into her mind. These sections would have very easy to miss collectibles, so they were a bit scary, especially with how weird these dreamlike sequences played out. But I find the collectibles and some creepy stuff happens before we back out. I then took a few calming pills too many. I'm not sure what those did, but taking too many gave me an OD for a trophy. Seconds later, I reconnect the system of what I just entered to pop the first story trophy. The game progressed a little slow because I was checking every cupboard, shelf, locker, or anything else that could open. But that did allow me to discover some likely Polish cuisine, which honestly I have to say really did not look very appetizing. A lot of detective information came from the excessive scanning, and I'd already scanned 100 items for a trophy, and a lot of the story came from the interrogations. And after doing 20 of those, I got that trophy as well, and it was a really cool game so far, but also just super weird, which I loved. A bit later, after I solved a few cases, I finally move into the tattoo shop that's been sitting there since the beginning. I'm gonna repeat myself again, but I walk into a super gorgeous lit area where I go into another Neuralink dream. This, however, was an area that I could die in and void the no death run trophy. With the game being kinda hard to navigate, I really wanted to avoid that at all costs. Luckily, the enemies were really slow and predictable, so it was pretty easy to move around them, but it was still a little scary. I got past them and made my way to the 4th RC car I found to pop the first collectible trophy and exited the sequence. It led me to the Ripper Chop Shop below, where the presumable killer from the beginning was right behind me. I unlocked a simple trophy here and then popped a trophy in a booby and toy room further on that Daddy YouTube definitely won't like me to show you. Next, I found the last computer with the levels I needed to complete, so I played that minigame inside a game for 30 minutes where I navigated through a AliExpress version of Crypt of the Necrodancer to finish the game. I got more strange PT meets Outlast meets Cyberpunk vibes, which I adored until I came across this. I can't take it out. I can't even take it out. I want to help you, Miss Piggy, but how do I do that? Fuck, dude. This game is messed up, bro. How do I help Miss Piggy? Unplug life support. Oh, I did it. Let me help Miss Piggy, bro. I'm gonna help you. And a trophy. Yes. I hope you rest in peace, Miss Piggy, bro. This game is something else. More depression was found in a room shortly after with a guy swinging from the ceiling, but it's where I found out where the game takes place. Krakow Police Department, that's what it stands for. We are in Poland. We are in Poland. W kurwa Poland, bro. As we're closing in on the killer that murdered the guy from the beginning, not yet knowing if that was our son or not, we go through more Neuralinks and so many wild scenes that were awesome. Just to then end up in the attic of the building where I find a white bird in a cage to pop a trophy as a tribute to the main voice actor that sadly passed away. Another Neuralink sequence, we find ourselves in the forest to find the last of 4 roses for a trophy. And I followed the guide further through an area where I could die once again. Oh my fucking god. Jesus fucking Christ. Why are there jump scares, bro? That jump scare was the only part to watch out for, but what I was watching a bit later was a flashback of the killer's murder spree. And yeah, he's some sort of massive werewolf. But we still don't know what happened to the son at the beginning, so we investigate the crazy story further and dig deeper into it. However, before we would get the answer, I had a missable trophy to watch out for by getting 3,000 points in this weird minigame without dying. I'm not getting points. Why am I not getting any score? Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god. How have I already lost? I'm 30 seconds in. What? Oh no. Oh no. This is so stupid, bro. What is this? How is this? I don't... Oh my god, I'm getting stuck on things. This is so stupid, bro. What is this? Who designed stuff like this, bro? Easiest trophy in the game. Easiest trophy in the game. Definitely not stressed at all doing this. Get me out of here, bro. After that, we finally get some answers, and our son has turned into a tree, and he's about to be shut off. I don't know, it's all pretty weird, but I loved it. We need to find a signal, and to get there I had to avoid dying one last time, making my way past the final radio for a trophy to get into an area with more enemies. I dragged my crusty slow ass through the super scary section that I would hate to avoid my no death run trophy on so far into the game. Checking corners as I peek, crawling through vents to make it through. I move along to find the final collectible and thankfully didn't miss anything and just had to finish the story without dying and get the 2 final endings. I didn't expect it to be a tough decision to decide whether the son who killed his own body with the werewolf to turn into an AI tree was allowed to take my body or if I should abandon him.
I didn't expect the game to actually have a decent story to make me have to think about the final decision, bro. I don't know, it goes both ways, but I can't do it. I can't do it. Damn, bro. Piotr the Bambino. And the no death run, that's what I was most stressed about. Thank you. Alright, all we gotta do now is reload the last autosave, which is 15 minutes ago, bro. There it is. Vamos! Wait, we're not in Spain. Hang on. Dzikio Polsko. To bilo bardzo dobre. Dzikio Polsko. Great game. Surprisingly, very, very good game. Did not expect that. Poland, you make some great games. Some phenomenal games, even. Dzikio Polsko.
I wasn't sure how to pick the next country, so let me know some ideas on how I should pick the countries, but I chose a continent I hadn't picked from yet. And that was Asia, and in particular a country that doesn't make many console games. Home to 101 million people, land of the rice fields, street food and scooters, Vietnam is actually a decently sized gaming country, but not for console. Instead, they choose to focus on mobile with games like Flappy Bird and Talking Tom originating here. So to find a game with a platinum was hard, but after some thorough research I came across a game called Hoa. So I booted up the game and instantly popped a trophy.
What? The journey starts. Xin chào Vietnam.
Since this was a very short and easy platinum, I wanted to spice things up by playing in Vietnamese, but after the first conversation, I realized that might make this very unenjoyable, so I had to switch back if I wanted to follow this cute indie game story. It revolves around a lot of small platforming and puzzle solving with a pretty art style. And the main loop is to find the butterflies in each area to progress and uncover the story about what had happened to me for me to end up on the beach. And it unfolded quickly with me popping trophies one after the other for simply progressing. Most of the trophies were for completing the story, but there were a few miscellaneous trophies I needed to do. Like bouncing on this bouncy thing 10 times and also kicking the robot 10 times.
That's... Okay. Well, Vietnam, you are definitely not the most challenging platinum so far.
Comparing this to the nightmarish games from before, this was super calm, relaxing and easy, and I really enjoyed it. I earned some new abilities along the way when completing areas that would enhance the gameplay, making it easier for me to move around and grab the butterfly spread across. I then cleared a spiderweb maze for a trophy and then already ended up underwater. And if you've ever played any underwater level, you know they suck, and unfortunately that was the case here as well. Terribly slow movement, making it unfun, but I realized that unlike the previous game, there was nothing Vietnamese here. At least not that I could tell, so I was hoping to see at least something. I swam through the underwater area to make it to the metal factory section where I knew the last miscellaneous trophy was. However, I had some trouble getting there because of this lever.
How do I do this? Brother, come on. A little further. Please. Okay, what if I do this? Yes. He should still be pushing it. Do we have a big brain? Yes!
The next area was that one trophy, so I moved the poor robot's arms up and down before saving the guy after some casino good luck spins. However, the robot decides to blow up the factory or something, and we are forced to watch a 2-minute cutscene of our character escaping what really felt like something that we should have been playing through. Yet at the end of that, I came across something that really surprised me.
What the fuck? Oh, that is weird. That is weird, bro, but that's actually pretty cool. Dude, that's actually pretty cool. I have not seen many games do this before. That is a really cool little concept. Oh my god, this is harder than it looks, bro. I actually really like this. I have never seen this before. Oh god, what the fuck's happening now? Oh dude, I swear I'm already tilting my head, ain't I? Playing Loco Roco, this game's actually super creative. Oh my god, it goes even worse. I'm gonna have to tilt my head, bro. I can't do it. I am skill issued, bro. I can't. Okay, well, I can't put my head upside down now, can I? Dude, this is mindfuck. Dude. Oh, there we go. Flippin'. Wait, no, not exactly. Oh my god, this does not make it any easier. Oh, that was super cool. I had never. It feels like something you see in like a Hazellight game, like Split Fiction. Oh, and then no way, it gets even crazier, bro. What? I love this, bro. What? I am holding left, or I mean, I'm holding right, but going left. This is even worse.
That section was inverted, but it was super creative and unique piece of gameplay that honestly surprised me, and it was awesome. I made it through that section to pop the trophy with just one remaining for completing the story. However, the mind-bending upside down inversion continued a little further before we found the robot again.
Oh, we've done it. Cảm ơn Việt Nam. Cảm ơn Việt Nam. Đó là một trò chơi thương. Very cute game. Very cute game. Whatever you want to call it. That was really cool. Like, I genuinely enjoyed that. And I have no idea why it's called Hoa, or what it has to do with Vietnam, but Cảm ơn Việt Nam.
The Vietnamese story wrapped itself up after the plant with a full story recap cutscene, however, that's for you to uncover. So like, subscribe, and let me know which game and country I should platinum next, and you can watch me clean up some other games in the meantime. And that's it. See ya!